So let's talk about Intel and AMD. This is a review in progress. Hey guys, Matt here. So like I said, this is a review in progress. I have not read either of these companies' 10Ks. I know a lot about them because I work in tech, and Intel and AMD have come across my life many times over. But as far as them as a business, I have not done a deep dive into them yet. This is just me reacting to stuff. Late last Friday, I was looking through new stocks and stuff, and I came across Intel and AMD. I've been meaning to look at them before, but I noticed a very sharp downturn. They went from $60 to $50. They dropped 16.24%. And this is a result of their disastrous earnings report. Well, quote unquote disastrous. I have not read it before. I have not read it yet, but basically they beat on earnings and revenue. But in their guidance, they reported that their 7nm chips. Now, just so you know, Intel is a chip maker. It makes processors for servers and desktops. A bit of a backstory is, so back in the day, back when I was a tech in the mid-2000s, AMD was always the underdog. They were always the second best when it comes to chip makers. That all changed when AMD came out with their Ryzen chips, their 7nm chips. And when AMD came out with that, Intel had been struggling to catch up. And they were supposed to come out with their chip, I believe, in 2021. But thanks to a delay in their supply process, that is not going to come out to 2022. And the stock hit hard. The market did not like that news whatsoever. Goldman Sachs downgraded Intel stock from whatever it was before to a sell. And that's what caught my eye. Whenever these analysts downgrade to sell, that's when I'm thinking buy. So let's do an initial overview of these two companies. So Intel, like I said, is a processor maker. It does do dividends, so keep that in mind. AMD does not do dividends. They are trading at just $50.59. They have a market cap at $214 billion. Their PE ratio right now is only 9.29. Looking at their income statement, they've had year-over-year constant growth as far as the revenue goes. Their net income also has year-over-year growth, except for maybe 2017. I'm not seeing anything wrong with this revenue. They may have had a disastrous quarter, even though they beat on both things, but the revenue is going up. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Their balance sheet looks absolutely amazing. They have quarterly income statement, looks pretty good too. No major drop-offs. Even after the last quarter, over twice as many assets as they do liabilities. They have plenty of cash on hand. They do have some long-term debt, which is more than their cash. But that's okay. They have plenty of cash to be able to back that up. And they have plenty of stockholders equity, which means that if they really get into that big of a pinch, they could just sell off their equity, some of their equity, use their cash, and just pay off their long-term debt in full if they wanted to right now. So they have an excellent balance sheet. Looking at their quarterly balance sheet, they still have, even at their latest quarter, they still have over twice as many assets as they do liabilities. Their debt's going down. Well, their debt sort of rose, but they're managing it quite well. I don't see anything horribly wrong with this balance sheet. Cash flows are going up year over year, so they are generating a lot of cash from the activities. Even their free cash flow, which is pretty much the operating cash flow minus their capex, that's going up year over year. Even quarterly, their operating cash flow is absolutely amazing. It's going up quarter over quarter, especially their latest quarter, and that's pretty fantastic, especially when they're operating in the middle of a pandemic. Their payout ratio, since they are a dividend payer, let's look at some of the important stuff. Their payout ratio, which is the percentage of their net income that they hand out in dividends, is only 24.76%. That's pretty good. Now, their dividend yield is only 2.19%, which isn't the biggest, but they do have a solid foundation from which to hand out dividends. They are not in danger of dropping their dividends. And looking at their dividend history, they have a record of increasing their dividends year over year, every single year. I can't be mad at this company. As a dividend play, Intel might be looking really good. Now as far as their chips lagging behind, their competition, yeah, that's going to hurt their growth. but maybe I don't want Intel for their growth. Let's take a look at their analysis. Okay, so the EPS is expected to drop this year, then rise next year, and most likely due to the delay in their chip stuff. They're expected to increase 9.9% year over year for the next 5 years. So as far as growth, yeah, Intel doesn't have it, but as a dividend play, they're looking pretty good. Let's take a look at AMD stuff. All right, AMD is trading at 69.40. They have a PE ratio of 162. And just as Intel dropped as a result of their earnings, AMD rose at the exact same time. So right now they are trading at or damn near all-time highs. Now AMD is a much smaller company. They have a much smaller market cap. As far as their income statement, they are earning much less than Intel, but their revenue is increasing year over year. Their net income is increasing year over year. Quarterly income statement is looking okay. I mean, there are some rises and drop in the recent quarter. They are reporting earnings Wednesday, I think. So I'm gonna listen in on that before I make my decision. But yeah, nothing wrong with their quarterly income so far. It fluctuates. Their balance sheet also looks incredible. They have almost twice as many assets as they do liabilities. They have far more cash than they have debt, which is amazing, which means that if they wanted to, they can pay off their debt in full right now. Looking at their quarterly balance sheet, I mean, it's looking pretty damn good as well. So they got, this is their assets, this is their liabilities. They've got over twice as many assets as they do liabilities now. They've been paying down their total debt. Looking real good. So their cash, I mean, they can wipe out their debt entirely if they wanted to right now. That's looking really good. Their cash flow, I mean, their cash flow is going up year over year, especially since the Ryzen chips came out. I mean, they're looking really good. Their free cash flow, which is, you know, this minus CapEx, it's looking really good, especially this year. Looking at their quarterlies, okay, I may need to look into their 10Q to figure out what happened there, but other than that, I mean, cash flows have been going up quarter over quarter. I will need to look into this though. Looking at their the analyst estimates. Now this is where AMD is starting to shine. I'm starting to think that AMD is more of the growth stock. So right now, they're expected to go from 0.64 EPS to 1.03, and then in 2021, they're about to jump up to 1.53 EPS. They're going to go from this to 8.4 billion, and then hop up to 10 billion by the fiscal year 2021. So looking at 25% growth this year, 21% growth next year estimate. And then for the next 5 years, 32.5% per year. So AMD is looking really good for a growth stock. The only thing I don't like about them is their PE rate. Well, the trailing PE is pretty damn high, but the forward PE is not looking so bad. AMD might be a good move for a growth stock. I still have to look through all their information, but the only thing I don't like is that they're trading at all-time highs. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on that. But yeah, this is just me thinking out loud. I don't quite know what I want to do. I still need to look through each of these companies thoroughly, but it's looking like right now, AT&T, Intel might be a great company, at least defensive-wise, for dividends. So Intel, dividends, AMD might be an upcoming growth stock. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I want another dividend stock or a growth stock. But anyways, I hope you enjoy me thinking out loud. This is just my first reactions to a stock, just looking at the basics. I still need to look through everything. I don't know quite what I want to do, if I want to pick either stock or whatever one. But anyways, I'll let you know what I come up with when I come up with it. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and eat your vegetables.